Are you looking for an international market research database containing detailed reports and statistics on countries, consumers, and industries? Well, I have just the system for you. It's called Passport GMID and it's produced by Euromonitor. You can get market and consumer lifestyle reports, company and industry profiles for over 180 countries, including Canada. In this short video, I'll show you how to find it and get the best from it right now. Now, Passport GMID, the market research database, the international market research database, is available here. And of course, you can use it from home. And when you click through, the first thing you get is the terms and conditions, essentially telling you that you have to respect copyright and don't share these reports with people from outside the school. You're supposed to give it only to your professors and to your colleagues. So accept those terms of use. And then here you are into the system itself. Now, there's a lot of different places you can go for information. I'm going to highlight the top 2 things that you should be doing in the system to get the best from it, okay? The first thing I want you to do is go under Countries and Consumers and hit Consumer Trends and Lifestyles. I'm only highlighting one section of this tab, but the Countries and Consumers, Consumer Trends and Lifestyles is the first place I want you to go when you go into the system, right? So once you get to the Countries and Consumers, Consumer Trends and Lifestyles page, I want you to go here under Analysis Finder, and you could just leave all analysis and select whatever country you want. In this case, I'm going to drill down to Canada, but of course you can use any one of the 180 countries in this system. So I'm going to click Canada and then go. And then the system will retrieve whatever analysis there is for Canada. So the first thing we get is a country pulse. And then Canadian consumers in 2020. This is an Outlook report. It's a future report. You could check it out. But the one I want to show you is the consumer lifestyles in Canada. What usually comes up in the first few hits of this list. Okay, so I want to show you what it looks like. So this is a pretty long report, right? It's written by the analysts who work for Euromonitor, and it's quite an expensive report to get your hands on. You guys have it for free because you're students, but I mean the library, the university pays for access into this system. Now I'm just scrolling through it pretty quickly, but I'm not even at a third of its length, right? I'm about reaching a quarter of its length. So you can see how detailed it is. You have graphs and data and figures and things like that. Now, of course, you could read it all. You could print it all if you want. There's an option here to get the PDF or to just send it to print, right? These 2 options here. Another thing that you could do is to use the table of contents, which appears here on the left-hand side. And then you can zone into different sections of this report that may be useful for your assignment. So eating habits, drinking habits, grooming, fashion, health and wellness, smoking. And of course, all of the reports from all of the countries look the same. And that's the value added, is you can actually pull the e-commerce and m-commerce report for multiple countries and compare to see what's happening in different countries. That's the value added of this specific report, because you have consumer lifestyles report for most countries. I'm giving the pet ownership example. Well, here you have attitudes towards pet ownership, right? And here, according to Euromonitor, Canadians love their pets and they've been spending more to keep them healthy, well-fed, and looking good. Okay, so the point here is that if I include this kind of evidence into my report without providing a footnote, without providing a source, I'm actually not doing my job properly. If you make a claim like that, you have to support it. And this is why we actually provide access to these reports. We pay to get these reports for you, is that you can quote this and then you have some relevant figures that you can include in your paper as well. Okay, so if you're doing a business plan or a market report, this is gold for you. Okay, and this is under Countries and Consumers, Consumer Trends and Lifestyles, and I've retrieved the Consumer Lifestyle Report for Canada. Now let's go back to the main page of Passport GMID, and I'll show you the second thing that I want you to do. The second thing I want you to do is to hit the search button. Just plain old search. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to show you how to use it. In this page, you get access to what is called the category tree. Okay, notice here that all of these captions, all of these headings have little plus. Okay, so if you're interested in consumer health, you could click on the plus and you get the subcategories for that specific field. Okay. Another thing that you could do, like for example, we have here pet care, so I can expand the pet care category and then get pet products, and then I have pet food, which I can further expand, dog food and cat food and other pet food, and I keep going like that until I get to have enough information for my report, right? So I'm going to do that, and notice that they get added to the left-hand portion, right? The other thing I could do is I could write a keyword here, like pet, and then ask the system to filter for categories that contain this phrase. Okay, so it's loading right now. It's looking through all the different categories, and it's going to highlight, of course, carpets. Fortunately, the system is only as smart as the algorithm, and it does a full text search. But I have here the pet population. This is something that I may want to add that was not part of that main section. And so I'm going to add the pet population here into my category summary, and I'm going to click on choose geographies. Okay, so I've told the system what I'm interested about. Now I'm going to tell it which country I want. And I'm just going to select Canada for now because I'm only interested in the local market. But notice here that not only you could go around the world, but you also have groupings of countries, right? Like all countries or European countries or BRIC countries. If you're doing a specific project about an area of the world like that, you could totally get those. But for now, I have my summary, my categories here for pet information, pet industry statistics for Canada. And then I'm going to go at the bottom of the screen and run the search. And so the system will attempt to find hits that combine all of the categories that I've asked it. Now, this is the result list, right? Notice that the first few hits have a sort of table icon. These are statistical reports. I get numbers. And then I kind of get a little document icon. Those are reports. And be mindful to notice both of these because the first few are statistics, right? That's what it says right here, statistics. And then you get text. Okay, so for example, pet products in Canada, but I also get company profiles, right? Like PetSmart Canada and Ralph C. Hagen Pet Care, right? So I can click and read the company profile, and these are pretty recent. Look at that, September 2013. That's why we give them a lot of money, so we can have access to these reports. So again, clicking here on pet products in Canada, just to give you an idea of what they look like. They're a lot more detailed than the consumer lifestyles report that we saw a few minutes ago. So you get headlines, trends, competitive landscape, prospects, and then data. We get tables. These are exactly the kinds of elements that you should be pulling into your paper. And by now, you're probably saying, wow, what a great system. Think of this as the Wikipedia for consumers and industries worldwide. And we give Euromonitor a lot of money so you can play around with it. So make sure you use it for your papers, right? So anyway, so let's go back to the result list. I've just given you an example of what a report looks like, right? Remember, there are two kinds of things that you get in the result list. You get statistics and analysis. I've just shown you the analysis, which is text, right? Now let's take a look at a market report, a statistical report, right? Let's look at market sizes, right, as the first one, and then we'll look at brand shares next, okay? So market sizes first, and here we have the value we're talking about Canadian millions of dollars right here, right? So the total market for pet food in Canada, dog and cat food, is $1.7 billion, right? Up from $1.4 billion in 2008. The other thing that we get here is pet products, well, a little bit under $1 billion in 2008, up to $1.2 billion in 2013. That's pretty cool. Here's a couple of kung fu tricks that you could do with this data. First of all, I mean, it's nice to have a big round number for the country, but let's bring it down per capita or per household, right? Because that gives you a better idea. So let's say you want to figure out the total market size in a specific region of Canada. Well, you can ask the system for the average expenditure per household, and you can get the total number of households from the census usually, and then you can calculate a local market size like that. Okay, I actually have a whole video about how to do that, which you could check out. I'll put the link in the comments or something. So the average spending on a Canadian household is about $127. Now you're going to say, wait a minute, Olivier, not all households have pets. Does that include non-owners of pets? You're absolutely correct. Okay, so let's say in my country, my fictitious country, Olivier Land, there's 5 households, right? So there's a household with a Saint Bernard, a household with a goldfish, and then 3 households without any pets. Okay, so the Saint Bernard household spends $1,000 a year on dog food. The one with the goldfish is, I don't know, $50, and then the other 3 don't spend any money. So the total spending in my country, is $1,050, but the average spending is $210. Right? So you could still use it to estimate total market size for a local region, assuming that the region is big enough to have a representative sample. Then you can apply this global mean to the local mean. Right? That's statistics, but you get the idea, I think. Okay, so that's how these work. Okay, so I've done one trick here is the per capita per household, and I brought it down to per capita. And then the other thing I could do is I can get forecasting. If I go here under change time series, you could see here I have an option for the forecasting. And in this case, it'll bring it to 2018. Which is actually kind of cool, because then I could see that the household expenditure will go from $127 in 2013, and it'll increase to $133, which is kind of cool. And again, I can export to Excel and make my own little graphs and bar charts and whatnots, and I can also export to PDF really easily. Okay, should you have any questions about these, sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out what that means. Well, you have the help right there that you can get. Okay, so that's for an example of a statistical series. Let's go back to the result list. Let me show you the brand shares, okay, because that's another thing that you may have to find out in some of your assignments. And again here, it actually goes to specific brands with the company owners, which is really interesting. And you can see how the brand shares progress over time. Okay, again, you could check out the forecasting on this one, but this is another super interesting report, especially if you're in marketing, to get an idea if the product that you're launching or the product that you're looking at is similar to one of these brands within its parameters or and whatnot. So you can compare what kind of brand share they have and see what the competition looks like. Okay, so again, in this case, that's the second thing I've asked you to do, is to look at the search button and look through the categories and through the geographies to find the data reports and the analytical reports that you can use within your assignment. So this is Passport GMID from Euromonitor. So to recap, Passport GMID is a consumer report and industry database that provides you information for over 180 countries. In it, you get information about consumers, their lifestyles, their spending, the brands they consume, but also industries that you can research. It's a very expensive system created by Euromonitor, and I highly recommend it as a starting point for any and all papers that involve consumers or businesses. And I'll bet you it's pretty much all the papers you'll be writing in the business school.